A rising wave of Russian surrenders is shaking the Kremlin's grip on the battlefield. As Putin's war drags into its third year, it's becoming clear that Russia is struggling to maintain its offensive. For many Russian soldiers, the illusion of victory has shattered, replaced by fear, frustration, and desperation. The idea of fighting for Putin's ambitions no longer appeals to troops who see themselves as expendable. In August 2024, Ukrainian forces launched a daring strike into Russia's Kursk region, making history as the first foreign army since World War II to occupy Russian land. The Russian military was caught off guard, and despite repeated attempts, they have failed to reclaim the lost territory. In one of Ukraine's latest operations, 21 Russian servicemen were reported killed. Captured soldiers from Russia's 155th Separate Naval Brigade have painted a grim picture of their service. They describe harsh punishments, suicidal orders, and an unspoken rule. Ukrainian prisoners were not to be taken alive. Some have even admitted to participating in brutal war crimes under duress. One soldier, who had joined to escape poverty, recounted how their own artillery fired on them when they attempted to surrender. In stark contrast to the cruelty of Russian commanders, Ukrainian troops have shown remarkable humanity to captured soldiers. One Russian POW revealed that Ukrainian forces shared food with him and even helped transport a wounded enemy soldier to safety. Meanwhile, reports continue to emerge of Russian officers executing their own men for attempting to flee the battlefield. Moscow, struggling to fill its ranks, has allegedly turned to North Korea for reinforcements. Intelligence reports suggest that around 12,000 North Korean soldiers arrived in Russia last year. Now, Ukrainian officials estimate that more than half of them have been killed or wounded. While some have withdrawn after suffering devastating losses, approximately 8,000 remain in combat. Fighting under conditions as brutal as those endured by Russian troops. Territorial gains and Russian setbacks. Ukraine's counteroffensive in the Kursk region has resulted in significant territorial gains, pushing Russian forces back by miles. Russian military bloggers report that Ukraine launched a massive assault with 30 to 50 armored vehicles, successfully seizing key settlements. While Moscow claims heavy Ukrainian casualties, Kiev insists its forces have gained crucial ground. The battle for the strategic town of Tetiv in Donetsk remains fierce. Russian troops continue their relentless assault, but Ukrainian defenders refuse to yield. With each skirmish, Putin's war effort grows more desperate, and doubts about his long-term strategy intensify. Despite its claims of neutrality, China has allegedly provided Russia with key resources, including germanium, gallium, and antimony, critical minerals used in military technology. Some of these suppliers have direct ties to the Chinese government, raising suspicions about Beijing's true stance on the war. Mass surrenders and internal chaos. With increasing battlefield losses, Russia's ranks are beginning to break. Reports suggest that in some sectors, entire units have refused to fight or abandoned their posts. Morale is at an all-time low, with some Russian soldiers choosing surrender over certain death. Ukrainian intelligence has intercepted communications revealing infighting and outright rebellion within Russian ranks. To combat the growing number of deserters, Russian commanders have resorted to ruthless measures, including executing their own men. Civilians in occupied territories are being forcibly conscripted, a move that further highlights Moscow's desperation. As world leaders react to Russia's unraveling war effort, U.S. President Donald Trump has vowed to end the conflict within 6 months if re-elected. His comments have sparked debate over whether a diplomatic resolution is imminent or if the war will escalate further. While some hope for negotiations, others fear that any settlement will only embolden Putin's ambitions. Russia's once mighty war machine is showing clear signs of exhaustion. Western sanctions have crippled its economy, limiting its ability to produce advanced weaponry. Reports indicate that Russian troops are being forced to fight with outdated equipment, while supply shortages leave entire units stranded without adequate food or ammunition. Despite these challenges, the Kremlin continues to push forward, unwilling to admit defeat. But as Ukraine solidifies its gains and Russian forces struggle to hold the line, Putin's ability to maintain the illusion of strength is rapidly fading. Could this be the beginning of the end? The once unthinkable is now a real possibility, a weakened, demoralized Russia struggling to maintain its hold on occupied territories. If mass surrenders continue and in turn,
internal dissent grows, the question isn't whether Putin's war is failing. It's how much longer he can keep it going. Ukraine's resilience has reshaped the battlefield, forcing the world to reevaluate the balance of power. As the conflict continues, global leaders face a defining moment. Whether to double down on support for Ukraine or push for a fragile peace that could give Putin room to recover. The war's outcome will not only decide Ukraine's fate, but could reshape the entire geopolitical landscape for decades to come. As the world watches this conflict unfold, one thing is clear: the tides of war are shifting. Is this the beginning of the end for Putin's war? Share your thoughts in the comments below.